Alright, so math, boys and girls, we've been talking about prime and composite numbers. Let's take a look at our standard. Our standard states that we're going to find all factor pairs for a whole number in the range 1 to 100. What's a whole number? Abby?
Whole number is like
194 could be a whole number. Can you give it an even better explanation to help her out?
It's digits that come together.
Digits that come together. They represent a whole what? Group or set. Would a fraction be a whole number? Like 1/2. Is that a whole number? No. So it's one whole set. Alright, it says that you're going to recognize that a whole number is a multiple of each of its factors, and that's one of our vocabulary words. You'll determine whether a given whole number in the range 1 to 100 is a multiple of a given one-digit number. And you're going to determine whether a given whole number in the range 1 to 100 is prime or composite. That's a lot of fancy words, right? Basically, that means you're going to be able to understand and recognize what a prime and composite number is and how to identify it. Your essential questions for today are, how do I identify prime numbers? How do I identify composite numbers? And what's the difference between a prime and composite number? Give me a thumbs up if you kind of understand some of that already. We've been talking about it for a couple of days, haven't we? Well, since we've had a little bit of experience with it, I want you to look over here at this HOTS question for today, and it's a doozy. Why is the number 1 neither a prime or composite number? Think you can answer that already? See if you can answer that.
Because you can't make more than
You can't make more than one array with that number. That's a good summation. I bet you're on the right track. Let's see if we can think on that a couple of times during our lesson today. Well, what goes along with prime and composite numbers except for math facts? You know, that's part of our everyday and every week life is we have to know those math facts in order to use them in our strategies to solve math problems with multiplication and division, don't we? And we've been working on math facts for several weeks. You've also been keeping track of those math facts. How many of you have been studying? Big hands up. Let's look back here at your math goals today. Before we take our test, I want to remind you of some of the goals that you stated for me up here on the board. Let's see, Abby, do you remember your goal?
maybe to get it up to 18 to 20 something.
You're on the right track. You do remember. Remember that we have 30 problems on our math facts test. And her last score was 18. And that's okay because we're still getting started, getting our brains kind of juiced up and getting revved up to really learn those facts a little bit better. So she set a goal for herself, and she said, in 2 weeks, I will increase my score from 18 to 24. So what's your goal today, Abby?
To increase it up to
So you hope to score a 24, correct? Okay, let's look at Evan's. Evan, do you remember your goal?
Yes, ma'am.
What was it?
Studying the math facts with my dad.
Okay, that was your strategy. But your goal was, in 2 weeks, I will increase my score from 22 to 29 by doing math facts and studying with my dad. Have you been studying?
Yes, ma'am.
I know you have. Okay, let's move on. A couple more. How about Jacob? Do you remember your goal?
I wanted to get to, I think my last score was 24, like 22 to 30.
Yes, very good. You said, I'm going to study with flashcards and I'm going to study with my mom and improve from 22 to 30 on my math facts time test. All right, so how many of you kind of remember your goals? Okay, if you don't, you'll have a chance later on today to come back over here and review and see that you met your goals. And when we look at our tracking sheets, you'll see your last score and you'll kind of get an idea of what your goal was. But remember, you set your goals. And you also develop strategies like studying with your mom, using flashcards, working on, who was it that chose to do a website to practice on? Emily, what was that website you chose? TutPup. Okay, so those are strategies to help you meet your goal. Let's find out if you met them. Make sure you have a sharpened pencil in front of you. And you know how to do these tests. You're going to turn it upside down, and when I give you a signal, you'll get 20 seconds to write your name and date on the front. Any questions? You're going to have 3 minutes on the timer to take your test. Who can remind us of what you're going to do when you're finished? Mackenzie, what do we do when we finish our test? Turn it over, and what are we going to do as a class? No. No. What do we do with our tests after we turn them over? We're going to score them, and after we score them, what do we do, Emily? No. Alden? We color a graph and we show how many we got right, don't we? And I'm hoping that everybody in here sees a difference in your score. Does everybody have a sheet? If you don't have a sheet, let me know now. Okay, let's pull up that timer. Okay, I'm going to give you 20 seconds on my watch, and then I'll tell you when the real time begins. Flip your paper. And the real time is starting.